Hello everyone and welcome to this video. So I am here with this. This is the HP Pavilion dv9620us laptop from I believe around mid to late 2007, and this is a 17-inch laptop from the HP Pavilion 9000 series, and I gotta say, this one is, being the 9620us, it's a lot similar to this laptop right here, which is the dv9620us laptop that my parents got back in probably around mid to late 2007, around that same time as this one was being produced. But yeah, because this laptop has similar hardware to this one. It also seems to be like a companion because of similar model numbers. But anyways, what I have got run up here is Windows XP, so not Windows Vista that originally came with. The thing is actually running Windows XP, as you can see right here. Now this one does obviously have a screen problem. Obviously it's got the little red stuff. You can't really see it in here, but if I go into the other shots, well, let me open up a CMD here and show you. That's the red stuff right there. So there's definitely something bad with the screen connections in there, because if I tilt this downward, then the red stuff goes away. But that's obviously why I have it plugged in to an external monitor, which, move up the tripod here. It's connected up to here, so yep, this is what I'm going to be using to film what I'm going to be doing in this video. And yes, I am using that same Cyborg Kudo-chan base background, the one that I've been using. It's obviously made by someone else online, but I use it as a background just because. And yeah, so I can go to sysdm.cpl so I can take a look. I added all that stuff in myself because I did do some housekeeping stuff here. But yeah, this is running Windows XP. But I guess in this video I'm going to show you how I got Windows XP running on this computer, obviously, because I mean, these machines, while they came with Windows Vista, they're able to run Windows XP with some work that you gotta do to make everything work, obviously. So because these were obviously they were designed to run Vista mainly, but you can get it to run Windows XP with various drivers that you can find, obviously. But yeah, I guess without further ado, let's go into the topic of this video, shall we? Alright, so now that we're here in the computer, I have the camera pointing here into this monitor here, because I'm going to be mostly doing my work directly on the laptop screen, which has a bad screen connectors, which I can see here. You're probably not seeing on camera because, well, you're focused here. But anyways, what we're going to be doing is to basically the first part here is we're going to be essentially installing Windows XP as is. So you can obviously get any copy of XP. For instance, this is my copy that I kind of burned onto a CD, but any legitimate copy of XP will work. You know, from RTM to Service Pack 3 or some. This one includes Service Pack 3, so I'm just gonna insert that into the drive. And before we do anything, let's go ahead and restart. That way we can go ahead and get into the setup process as normal. And you may have heard a little Windows shutdown sound from the speakers, because I actually do have the sound drivers and stuff, because I've got all the drivers that I needed for this thing so I can get XP to work on this system. And it runs pretty well, obviously. And this dv9620us laptop is actually going to replace the previous laptop that I had before, which is the dv9417CL laptop. So that was before I got this. It was around the time when I restored my I got my dv9620us laptop to power on after like many years of it sitting dormant or something. Alright, press A key to boot from CD. Now it's preparing, detecting configuration. Alright, here we go. Windows setup. So getting back to my point here, this dv9620us laptop is going to replace the dv9417CL laptop that's actually sitting down on the floor right next to me. It has not been powered on because I moved the drives. I backed up the contents of the dv9620us laptop to like a macro reflect backup thing, and I had it stored on my big Dell Optiplex 980 computer on its secondary drive. It's 2 terabytes, and then I moved the drives from this computer over to the 9417CL, and with that I moved the drives from that laptop over to this laptop. And so I'm just kind of resetting things up here because I did try doing restoring the partitions I had from before onto here, but I was having problems, so that's why I'm kind of had to do this from scratch. But anyways, welcome to setup. This portion of the setup program prepares Microsoft Windows XP to run on the computer. To set up Windows XP, now press enter, yada yada yada. Just the same basic usual XP setup that you probably see on this channel plenty of times here. Okay, so we don't want to repair, so we'll just hit escape, and we want to go to this partition right here. So that's the partition that we're going to be replacing. As you can see, I got all the other partitions here because I got 2 hard drives in this thing. Because yes, the DB9000 series series of laptops have 2 hard drive bays, so you can use them as separate drives or in like a software RAID configuration. So anyways, so we'll do that. I'm gonna just go without quick formatting, or I'm just gonna go without quick formatting. I'm just press F, and I start the stopwatch here. So I'm gonna pause here until it gets to the end portion, so of this part of setup. So yeah, I'll be back with you guys in a bit. And 100%. So that took like close to around like what, 5 or 6 minutes to do a full format on this computer. So now it's going to go ahead and copy the files from the CD-ROM drive to the computer itself for the setup portion, the GUI portion of setup, the graphical portion of setup that you may all be familiar with if you have used Windows XP before for the first time or something, or when you reinstalled it several times, which I bet some of you may have been doing something like that back in the day, especially if you use VMs. Obviously the VM stands for virtual machine. So like VM, you basically like virtualize and like a computer within a computer pretty much. So say for example, like what, VMware, I use VMware. I also use like what, VirtualBox, and then it's also Virtual PC too. Those are examples of virtualization software that you can use to run, pretty much any Microsoft Windows based OSs, like 95, 98, NT4, 2000, XP, and so on and so forth. But anyways, so yeah, I'm pretty much setting everything up as how I'm setting things up on this computer a bit differently from when I had it on my DB9417CL, because this computer, the 9620US, it actually still has the original install on it when I got it the first time, and I created a restore disk. I created a restore disk of everything that was on, everything that originally came with, and I used it to factory restore everything on it after I did the whole backup of whatever those 2 drives are before I fully did a full like factory restore of this computer, obviously. And so I'm leaving the Vista partition as the first partition, and then as for the other two partitions, because I had set up the other two partitions, because the last partition is the recovery partition. So I did that, and in those two partitions I installed XP onto them. So yep, this is gonna be, well, this is also gonna be another dual booted system, because you might not know this, I'm kind of like a sucker for dual booted systems, primarily on Windows, because I know for sure you can you may be familiar with dual booting, in like the Windows Linux concept. You can dual boot Windows and Linux alongside each other, but not so much on the Windows dual booting side of things, because you can only do so much with either operating system if it supports whatever kind of hardware that it has. But anyways, yeah, so I just had the 9417CL in the floor unused. I may be able to do something with it since I wiped out the two drives already. So yeah, I guess without further ado, I'm just gonna let this thing on go, and I'll pause here until something interesting happens. So we'll see you then. Alright, 98.99, and I guess we're all set and ready to go. So please wait while setup initializes your Windows XP configuration. This portion of setup has completed successfully. To restart your computer, press enter. When your computer restarts, setup will continue. Your computer will reboot in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Now it's gonna reboot the computer. And this the dv9620us laptop that I'm using here has newer hardware than the 9417CL laptop that I've been using before. Well, this one has similar hardware. The 9620us has similar hardware to the dv2620us that I've used back in the day as a, when I was very young at the time, like 07, 08, 09 or something like that. But this one contains an AMD Radeon 64 X2 processor at 1.9 gigahertz. It's a TL-58. It has integrated NVIDIA graphics, so it's a GeForce 7150M with the M4630M chipset for this computer. It's also got a Broadcom wireless card, and all the other doodads and whatnot. But anyways, we are at this the graphical portion of setup. I'm sure most of you are all familiar with this by now. Obviously, you see it many times here on the channel, and plenty of times that you've done it yourself via VMs and real hardware and whatnot. But here we are. Alrighty, so it's installed all the basic drivers that XP would recognize, and now I just gotta unplug and replug the USB wireless mouse that I'm using, because it's a thing with this mouse that I'm using. It's like it looks like the Apple Magic Mouse, but in black color, and it has two buttons and a scroll wheel on that. Another button that I don't know what it is. But anyways, I'm gonna go to regional language options, and I'm gonna go to date and change this 29 to 79, because I keep saying this, when the 2020s are over, we need to change that so that it can accept years beyond the 2020s, so like 2030 and something like that. Because if we don't, then it's just gonna wrap around, which we don't want that to happen. So yeah, please wait while setup installs or uninstalls language files. This might take a few minutes, and this shouldn't take too long, so we're just gonna let it sit here in real time, so that way we can get into our setup process. Yeah, even the this this 9620us laptop even still has its original its original spec stickers and whatnot. I mean, the stickers that details what this computer can do and all the other additional features that it has. But yeah, it's still got those 2 stickers on it, because I know for sure the 9417CL laptop didn't have those, because I think someone probably removed them when they got it, or it didn't or they didn't include it out of the box. And yeah, all right, name and company and the product key. So I'll pause here. Product key has been entered, and we leave the computer name as is. I could set it to anything else, but I'm just gonna leave it as default. Setup queries: use your account called admin. You use this account when you need full access to your computer. We could type in an admin password for security reasons, but since I'm not gonna well, this is my computer, so I'm just gonna leave it as is. So because this is obviously not being used in a professional business environment. Yeah. Time zone is correct because I do live somewhere in that area. So I'm just gonna leave those as is. Now it's installing all the basic network stuff, which XP doesn't recognize the built-in wireless card that's in this thing, because yeah. And this thing does also have FireWire ports, though I couldn't get it to work on under XP for whatever reason. Even after all the drivers are installed, I can't possibly use that. But it doesn't really matter, because I've never used FireWire in all my life. I never really used FireWire connections, because I don't have a DV camcorder. I don't have a DV camcorder or a mini DV camcorder for that matter. So, because all that we basically had in the 2000s or something was this, if I can get up here, this DVD Handycam. It's a Sony DVD Handycam. This is the one that my family uses back in the day. And we also had that one digital Sony camera that we no longer have anymore, but we did have it at the same time as this DVD Handycam that we had. It was 04 or something, late 2004 that we had both of them. But anyways, now it's installing the start menu items, and it's gonna go ahead and do our registry, installing stuff in the registry, and then it'll save settings and then remove any temporary files used. So yeah, it's just doing the same old basics. And I can show you this while we're still here, while we're still filming. I can hit Shift F10 to open up a command prompt. So this is what power users would likely do at this point, to sometimes install drivers or something, or just do troubleshooting. For any other consumer out there, you won't necessarily do this, because you're not likely to mess around with the computer too much. Removing any temporary files used, so we're on that last stage, and now it's going to automatically restart for us. So this is at the point that we should be removing the disk from the drive, but because we don't see the prompt where it asks us to remove the CD from the drive, we're just going to leave it in the computer. So it's going to reboot. I can hear the fans kicking in. Here we go. See, I'm leaving the disk in the drive. Yes, at the moment it's dual booted with 2 XP systems, but I've also got plenty of other operating systems on here. And I'm also planning to turn this Windows XP installation into something else. Aesthetically, obviously. It'll still be Windows XP at heart, but it'll look like a version of Windows that was released prior to that. You probably might know what I'm getting by that. But anyways, now we're going into the out-of-box experience for the first time. So now it's gonna readjust the resolution to about like what, 800 by 600. Here we are. And now I need to unplug and replug the mouse again. Okay, press OK. Now it's gonna load the out-of-box experience. And there's the Windows XP oob animation that you sometimes don't get to see on older systems. Welcome to Windows XP, yada yada yada. So no Windows welcome music or any sounds or anything because we don't have sound drivers, and because we don't have any other like network drivers and all that stuff. All those got skipped, so it just instantly goes to this. Who would use this computer? I'm just gonna type in my name, like finish, and now we're getting into the desktop for the first time. So at this point we finished Windows XP's setup, but I'm gonna be doing a little bit of housekeeping work here before we get on to the main part, which is the driver stuff. So I'm gonna go into the XP installation media, and I'm gonna go to this disk, and I'm gonna copy the i386 folder into the root of that partition. I believe this is how OEMs used to do it. Like I know Dell, I think Dell probably did this back in the day, that you had the i386 folder of the root of the drive or the partition and stuff. So that way, if it needs files off of the CD, it won't have to go searching for said CD. It'll have all the stuff from within that specific folder. So just gonna let that run, and then once that's done, we shall go on to the main point of this video. Okay, now I got everything out of the CD, so I copied over the i386 folder into this drive, and I'm gonna rename this to something that I'm hinting at. Yep, just to differentiate it from the two. I'm gonna take the XP disk out from the drive, and let's go into installing some drivers, so that way we can make this thing more usable. So what I got here, I got a USB flash drive that contains all the drivers and stuff for this thing. So I'm inserting here. I'm gonna bring up the resolution a bit to 1024 by 768. Here we go. And it's detecting the hardware, and there we go. Open the folder and go to here, go to drivers. Let's see where we can start. I'll go through my notes here for the other laptop that I was using at the time. We'll start with the audio drivers. We got plenty of different drivers here for all the stuff that I had on here, the DB2000 series, the DB9000 series. You might use a combination of both because this laptop has similar hardware to that particular computer that I have. The 14-inch DB2000 series laptop. So why don't we start with the audio drivers? So we got this one right here. We'll start with installing the Microsoft UAA bus driver for HD audio first. So we got plenty of different versions here, and then we'll install the audio driver later. But we got different versions of the UAA bus driver, obviously. Now, let's go into, I'm going to get all these icons on here. I'll turn that off. Go into here and go to Device Manager and see what kind of hardware devices that we're missing. It's going to be a lot. Look at all that. And yes, it's looking for the IEEE 1394 controller, but that doesn't seem to work for some reason. So that's the only thing that has a problem, so I could probably disable that. But the other devices, these are all the things that needs to be installed. So a lot: audio device and high definition audio bus, basis device, whole processor, yada yada yada. All these other things that we need to resolve on those other devices. So UAA bus driver for HD audio, there's different versions. Let's see which version shall we start. Ideally, we should use the one that's much later, in terms of the effective dates for this thing. So these two are January 15, 2006 for Rev A and Rev B, and we'll use this one, UAA bus driver for HD audio, and this is SP 33867. So I'm gonna go by things here in detail. I'm gonna put all the stuff into this drive, the I. So there it is. There's the folder. So using I here, so we got that. So I'm going to go by the order of audio, chipset, graphics, input, mouse, input, others, modem, network, software enhancements, software multimedia, software solutions, software system management, and storage. So I'm going to go by through that in the order that, that I have written here on my notes. Alright, we got the UAA bus driver, version 1.00B3. So it's installing all those, finishing install. We could restart now, but I think we will just restart later. So now that we got all that out of the way, let's go ahead and before we install the audio drivers, we need to take note of all these things, because we're not going to be using these drivers, not from that, nor this one, the one that's provided, because if we install these, then we'll get like an error that's saying there's no audio device recognized by the hardware for the system. I'll probably show you what that looks like, so I'm just going to install this just because I wanted to show you what would happen. So initializing the application, and then we should get an error of some sort. Yeah, driver installation failed. Could not find a media device for this driver. So we might install this manually, or I can just grab one of the drivers that I usually use for this thing. But let's go ahead and restart just for you know, what that program's sake. Alright, back in the desktop, and gonna replug and unplug and replug the mouse again. Okay, I always had to do that when I restart, whatever. Alright, so we got all that stuff, but we need to get audio device on high definition audio bus. So we need to select that, and then we're not going to install the software automatically because we could connect to the internet, but we not. I don't have drivers yet. So let's go to here and go to sound, video, and game controllers, and then I'll click on have disk. So I'm going to attempt to go into here to SW setup, and this is probably for the driver. Conextent high definition audio, and let's see if we can attempt to install it from here. It's probably not going to. Installing this device driver is not recommended because it cannot verify it's compatible with your hardware. Yada yada yada. Yes, I want to continue installing this driver. And let's see if that works or not. Because there's a sure sign that if the driver works, we need to get a sound out of that from the speakers and stuff. If it doesn't, then we have to use a different driver. But let's see if this will actually work. This Conextent high definition audio driver that we extracted out, that we're installing manually. Oh, there we go. The wizard has finished installing the software for the Conextent high definition audio driver, and let's see if that worked. Control panel. Oh, that worked. But I'm gonna go to oh wow, that worked. So essentially, so now we got sound. So yeah, that worked. I don't need to get the one that I also use, that I typically use with that other laptop. It's this one right here. This is the Conextent Venance 5086 or something like that. So we don't need to use that since we already used this. So now we got the audio drivers done. Now we just need to install the graphics drivers, which this being a 7150M 630M chipset, we're going to be using this one right here. This is the latest version of the drivers. I'll put into the I folder, that one. Now, obviously, this one doesn't really, well, we're going to get into that in a bit, but let's go into here, make sure the NVIDIA folder is there. Yep, there it is. Now it's going to read the contents slowly from from the USB stick, even though it's USB 2. I think it's because I have so many files in there. That's kind of like access time is a little bit slow, but let's just get going here and let's refocus the camera. Alright, now it's extracting all the stuff, and then it's going to launch the installer, and let's see what happens. Oh, the NVIDIA setup program cannot locate any drivers that are compatible with your current hardware. Setup will now exit. So yeah, the installer didn't detect any hardware that's supported under that installer, but it is supported, because I can go to a video controller, VGA compatible, update driver, install from the list of specific location, display adapters. And under here we got all the display adapters that are supported under XP and such at the time. So we got like everything under Service Pack 3, so like even the GeForce FX series, but also has drivers including to the Riva TNT and GeForce 256 and whatnot. And there is also the aforementioned GeForce 2 GTS that I mentioned earlier. Now we just need to have disk and go to NVIDIA XP, that display, it all detected the the file that it needs, and these are all the stuff that this update little program has. And we'll be going into the one under the 700, yeah, we'll choose this one, this top one, GeForce 7150M/M4630M. So we'll select this top one here. There's the top, middle, and bottom. We'll use the top one here because I know that one works. And then it's going to go ahead and, well, I think it's going. So yeah, that's going. So we got the sound drivers installed, and now we got, oh, whoa, now it's installing PhysX. It's installing the other stuff that came with this driver too. There we go, completing the hardware update wizard. The wizard has finished installing the software for this hardware, this graphics driver. So now I'm gonna go ahead and restart just to be safe. We got sound going. Alright, we got the Windows XP startup sound here because we got sound drivers going, and we're in the lower resolution now. I believe it's back to 800 by 600. Oh, we got additional option here. That's NVIDIA control panel. Now we go to properties, settings, and we got this different setup now. Let's go to the maximum resolution of this laptop, which is 1440 by 900. True color mode, and there we have it. It stretches to the, well, it's now using the full screen estate of my laptop screen. There we go. And we also got the end view and PhysX too. Let's open up that. Advanced settings. And the 3D portion works. It does work. Alrighty, so now that's all done now the way. Let's go ahead and install chipset drivers, which I actually have this chipset drivers installed on the other XP partition when I was setting it up the first time. So it's these versions here. So we do 1523 or 1524. How about we just do this one? NVIDIA strength says 2000 XP or whatever. But anyways, now I'm gonna install the 15.24 Enforce drivers here. They should be compatible with the hardware that I'm using. So let's take a look at a device manager first, see what we're missing still. So we got all these other stuff: the Ethernet controller, network controller, SM bus controller, unknown device, code processor, base system device, and modem device on high definition audio bus and whatnot. But anyways, let's go ahead and install everything that's in here. Alright, next. So now it's installing all the stuff it needs. Alright, and this is for the NVIDIA IDE software driver, which also mentions RAID stuff. To install OS onto a SATA disk when RAID is enabled to BIOS, you must do the following, like right there. There's some. Alright, now it's just installing all those things, and it's now complete. And then it'll prompt me to install NVIDIA ForceWare Network Access Manager, which we will do that. Alright, next. There we go. And now we'll restart just to be safe. And you may notice that because we have graphics drivers installed, we have the standby option available, which we can also, well, we don't have the hibernate option set, but with the other drivers, with the one drivers that we're going to be installing in this video, we might have the option for that. Alright, here we are, rebooting back to the desktop. I'm gonna constantly unplug and unplug the USB receiver for this wireless mouse. It's kind of annoying. Yeah, we got the local air connection down there. We are gonna install the wireless card in this video in a bit, but now we got the audio, graphics, and chipset drivers all accounted for. So look at that. Only like a few things there. Alright, and next up is inputs. So we need like inputs for like the touchpad and the whatever that we have on here. And I mean, the touchpad works, but using the drivers supplied by HP and stuff, we get the Synaptic drivers, which are kind of like touchpad optimizers, whatever. Alright, so I'm gonna expand all of these things. And we got plenty of drivers here. Oh my gosh, for inputs for dv9000, for 9000. So I'm gonna open up all these things here just to see what we need. I'm gonna focus on mouse first. So I'm gonna close this one here. So we got we don't need the wireless laser mouse because I don't need that. I'm just gonna add this in here just because. But we need the Synaptics touchpad drivers. That's what we want. And I'm gonna go into the other drivers for like all this other stuff. So I'm just gonna go by all these things here. There's just so many drivers lists that I'm kind of going by here. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna X out all these other things. Move the Synaptics touchpad thing here. I'll have to go USB mouse. I think this is the same one. The more Synaptic touchpad things. And these look like the identical drivers, so I'm just going to go ahead and install the Synaptics touchpad drivers. So which version shall we start? Ideally, we should select the one that's newer. So this one's from 2006, and these two are 2007. So we'll use this one right here. And this is SP37065. So we'll use that. Put that on the I folder. So we'll install the Synaptics touchpad driver for the mouse and stuff. So it's reading the contents of the package. And there we go. Device driver installation. Go. We don't want to restart this time because I mean we're going to be setting up everything as is. We got that. Just install that just because. that's all there is for mouse inputs. Now we're going to be going into the other. Oh, whoa! What's going on? Right side. I'm just only installing this just because it's one of the drivers. One of the driver sets that kind of installed in here just because, even if it has no use, since I don't have the one of those optical mouses for it. But you know, and we'll wait for that to go. Okay, I will restart later, and now I'm going to go through all the inputs. So I'm just going to go through all these things from both these ones and the other ones, because I got a whole bunch of packs here. I got a whole bunch. Like there's like a a DBT tuner drivers, so that's like a TV tuner card. That one there too. We already installed the Synaptics drivers. Now we just need the quick launch buttons. So we got the quick launch buttons. So we got all of these things here. I'm just gonna drag all the quick launch installers here. So once again, we shall start from the one. We shall use the one that's newer than all the other ones. So let's start from this one's December 17, 2007, and these two are from 2008. Oh wait, these two are from 2007, so we'll eliminate those. Then these ones are 2008, we'll eliminate those. Well, January 2008. That leaves us with this one. HP Quick Launch Buttons, version 6.40 Rev F, from June 6, 2008. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and install this one. Now, obviously we don't have a .NET framework or anything installed in here, so it might fail, but we'll see. It's probably going to go as is. Installing button driver and services. So it's installing all those. I'm going to close that out. And that out too. And then we shall get into installing like the webcam drivers and stuff. So it's currently installing the button driver and services for all it needs. And then it might prompt us to restart. And there we go. No, I will restart later. And so now we go into the webcam stuff. So we got a bunch of these different drivers for the webcam stuff. It's like these 5 here. So we should ideally do the software drivers first before we use these HP Pavilion webcam stuff that enables the built-in camera module. So which one shall we start? They're all from March 22nd, 2007. Let's go ahead with the... Well, there's 35414 and then there's 35415 for this one. So this one, 1.3 megapixel webcam, and then we got this one, a VGA webcam. So they're similar, but I think I'm gonna choose the 1.3 megapixel webcam. So we'll install that. So we got that going. Next, install. There we go. And now we can install this one, which is SP33544. Okay, Installation is complete. You must restart this computer for the changes to take effect. Would you like to restart now? Yes, I will probably do that just to be safe. So we'll go ahead and restart. And we're back at the desktop. So we got that all the way. Now I think it's next up is the modem and the network drivers. I think we're going to be installing the modem first. So I'm going to go to all these stuff again. let's go to the XP drivers that I have set, go to modem, and the only modem drivers that we have, oh wow, there's like many different, well, we got this one, then we got that one, and then we have this one too. So we're going to do our process of elimination here, if you know what that means. So we're going to be using the one that's newer, obviously, going by the effective date. So this one is from July 10, 2006. This one's from September 8th. This one's from September 15th. So let's eliminate this, and this, and this. Well, that leaves us with this now. So now we can go ahead and do that. But this thing is similar to the sound driver, and that's, oh wow. Following files already on your computer, oh wow. So we got that going. And then it's probably going to give us an error. It'll say, yep, driver installation failed. Could not find the modem device for this driver. So now I need to take note of that driver that I used. It's probably 33839. Yeah, that's the one, 33839. So go to hardware device manager and all the other devices, modem device on high definition bus, and we'll go into here, modems, and then we will go into hap disk. Whoa, sorry for the abrupt cut there, but because my phone camera ran out of space, but I got it all cleared out. And let's take a look at what we have in here in the store. I was doing this off camera. We got the modem driver installed. I installed it off manually, and I also got the network adapters and stuff installed in there too. And let's take a look at the drivers that I've installed during that time that I was off. That was kind of off camera. So I installed the modem drivers. I believe this was 33839, so I installed this one. And then as for the network drivers, so I installed Broadcom wireless LAN driver version 6.20 Rev A from August 15, 2007 with soft pack number SP36684. And then I installed this, the wireless assistant version 3.00 Rev F with SP35333, effective date March 20th, 2007. And of course, I have some of the Intel stuff and the Bluetooth stuff in there, which we don't have in this computer probably. But now we have network drivers and the modem drivers installed. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause here to connect to the internet. And we are connected to the internet. There we go. All right, network. So we got the network drivers installed. Now we just need to do the enhancements, the software enhancements. So that'll be for the AMD processor update for Windows XP. So that thing. The AMD processor update for Windows XP, version 1.3.2.0 Rev E6 with SP35445, effective date March 27, 2007. And I will go ahead and install that. Welcome to the AMD CPU driver installation wizard. Accept the agreements. Device updated. You must restart your computer before the new settings will take effect. Yes. Just to be safe. Alright, and we restarted. And so that takes care of the software enhancement section. Now it's time for software multimedia and see if I can take a look at some of the things in there. So I'll go into this here. Alright, I think we'll have this. We'll just use that. USB video device application, and that's And that's pretty much it. This is from that folder. Alright, and for solutions, we got plenty of other stuff here. I'm just going to select all these things here. Alright, so now that we got these three programs here, so we got Help and Support Center, the LightScribe host software, and an HP software update. We'll do the LightScribe one here first. And this is, oh, everything's in there already. This is SP 36971, so it defaults to that. So I'm just going to load everything here. And there we go. HP software update. So we'll do that. And also goes to the same part there. SP 34794. So note all. There we go. It's launching that HP update installer. And it's finished. Now the Help and Support Center. Put it under I here. There we go. English. So this is the XP portion of XP version of HP Help and Support. So we'll get that up and going. It's kind of running in here real time, just to see. Install Shield Wizard complete, and so that takes care of the solutions section. Alright, now for SysManage. We got this one and then this one. Different versions of the system default settings. Then we got 420 Rev T and 420 Rev U. They're different ones. Well, we'll choose the one that's like SP33038. So we'll use this one. So this is management software. So next, we'll do that. System default settings. So we'll go ahead and do that, and we shall restart just to be safe. Alright, doesn't seem like anything's that much different. Well, now that's all that done out of the way, let's go ahead and move on to the last part, I would likely assume. So let's go to storage, and we'll pick from these different ones here. These are for the card readers, the integrated card readers for the computer. And there's many different versions. Let's do our process of elimination here. So let's see, these two are from June 19th. Well, this one's from May 11th, so that gets eliminated. This one said June 19th, eliminated. That leaves us with this one, the Ricoh 5-1 card reader driver version 1.01.109 Rev A, 1.01.09 Rev A, SP 33413, August 21st, 2006 effective date. So we'll install that. So we install that. And we'll restart just because, just to be safe. Alright, and that covers that. We just restarted. And let's take a look at what other things that we have on here. I'm not too sure, but let's just go ahead and double check. A list of stuff that we have on here. I mean, utilities, plenty of other utilities on here. I guess we shall install a couple of these things. Some extra utilities that may be useful for us in the long run, though, you know. The Vista upgrade utility, we don't need that. We don't need that. The wireless home network setup, Not too sure if it works on this thing. And the HP battery check, not too sure if it actually works on this thing, but we'll try installing these just because, oh, this requires NET framework. I'm not too sure if that's going to work on here or not without it, but let's go ahead and install the wireless home network setup here on this computer. There we go. Don't need to restart. HP battery check. See if that program works on here or not. Oh yeah, please install an NET framework for installing battery check. Okay. So at least that also requires that, but I'm just gonna leave that for now. I'm just gonna do that off camera since we pretty much got everything installed on here. So let's go to Device Manager. And look at that. Aside from the problematic the OHCI compliant IEEE 1394 host connector, this is for the FireWire controller, we got all the drivers accounted for. So take a look at all the stuff that I had on here. Yep, everything has been fully accounted for. Look at that. No other there's no other devices under the other devices thing. So yeah, aside from this one problematic IEEE 1394 host controller driver, we got everything accounted for. So yeah, so we have successfully installed Windows XP Professional on this HP Pavilion dv9620us laptop with the drivers that we used in this video. So yeah, got everything in here, runs as you would expect for XP. But yeah, so I guess that about wraps up for this video. So yeah, thank you all guys for watching this, and I'll hope to see you on the next one. See ya.